Hello, Likers. Welcome back to our channel. It's me, your fave, your one and only, your baby girl, Malaika. So, Likers, we are doing the critical review of Mr. Aloy series, When Marriage Becomes a Nightmare, episode 45, part 1. Remember, the series are so long, so I'm doing in 2 parts. So, it starts with Hanks, who is very angry, based on the information he had that Jonathan is the reason why Benny is suffering. So Hans did not sit and think that, but could it be a setup or could this be real? Because come to think about it, like us, no man who wants to see their child go through what Benita is going through. But Hanks acted out of emotions. He let his emotions control him based on the fact that he loves Clara so much and he knows how much Clara loves Benita. So he's trying to protect Clara and protect Benita. So to him, it's possible that Hanks would do that. But now when you think, why would Hanks want to do that to his own child? You understand? So, sorry, why would Jonathan want to do that to his own child? Hanks is not looking at it at that point. He's thinking of something else because to him it's more like, you did this. If not, I don't understand why they'll call your name. And Hanks is kind of confused. Jonathan, sorry, is kind of confused because to him it's more like, what is Hanks talking about? Like, to him it's confused, like, why would this guy come into my house to come and punch me? Like, what's up? What is happening? But Jonathan also needs to understand that Hanks loves Clara very much, and he has grown to love Benita because Benita is an intelligent girl. And Hanks is so pissed. But Jonathan also, we know how proud and how rude Jonathan is. Jonathan is also very pissed because he cannot understand why Hanks would want to come and ridicule him. That to him, this is his family matter. What is Hanks's business in it? And Jonathan is ready to fight back, to fight Hanks, and Hanks is willing because to Jonathan, Hanks is just trying to use his influence on him. Hanks is trying to, based on the fact that he's wealthy and Jonathan is broke at the moment, Hanks is just trying to, to prove a point, trying to ridicule him. Whereas that is not what Hanks is trying to do. Hanks is just trying to understand, why would a father, stoop to this level to punish their child? What did your child do to you for you to want to, bring her down, for you to want to ridicule her? What is her offense? So we know that, when two people don't like each other, not automatically that is how it is. They will like be going back and forth, they'll be fighting and all the rest. Jonathan at this point is ready. He doesn't care whether Hanks has money or not. At this point, Jonathan is ready to face Hanks because to him, why will Hanks of all people, come to his house to attack him? Like, what did he do to deserve it? Because to him, he hasn't done anything to warrant it. He's kind of confused. But Hanks also, on the other hand, has swore to deal with Jonathan, no matter what the case. Jonathan is very pissed because he cannot understand why will Hanks stoop to this level. So the next thing shows Hanks who went back home and his mother was very angry, because to her, Hanks is, stepping his boundaries. This is a family issue. Hanks is supposed to stay away from it and let them handle their thing, peacefully. Because Clara can handle this. Hanks will just let it be. Jonathan is the father of Benita. Whatever Jonathan wants to do, let him do it because that's his child. But Hanks is not willing to let go. So Hanks will do everything humanly possible to bring Jonathan to his knees, because to him it's more like, if Jonathan cannot respect himself, cannot carry himself properly, then he will make sure he teaches him a very bitter lesson. But we all know how mothers are. Mothers will always, want to bring peace. They don't want problem. They always want things to go accordingly, because to her, it's more like, why would you go and fight? Because this is not your family. This is not your fight. To her it's more like, if Jonathan wants to buy his daughter, let him buy his daughter. It is not your business. Stay out of it. But Hanks is not having it. Hanks is very pissed, and he just had to walk away from his mother because his mother was not getting what he was saying. So the next scene shows Clara sitting in a restaurant, taking orders from her clients, and all the rest. Then you see a silhouette that passed by. It was a silhouette passes by. When you look at it, you know that it's none other than what's her name, Debbie. Debbie immediately entered the restaurant and sit on Clara's table where she was sitting, and Clara instantly, told her client that she would call back and ended the call because, like, she wanted to understand, like, what is this weary doing in my office, like in my company, in my restaurant? Why is she here? But we all know how Debbie works. Debbie is she incarnates toxicity, and she is a manipulator. you know so Debbie is trying to make it look like Clara is the reason why her family is falling apart, because to her it's more like, why would Clara give upper hands to Hanks, in a way that Hanks will even have the mind audacity to disrespect her husband. Because if not for Clara, Hanks will never go to Jonathan and fight him. Debbie was surprised. She was shocked because, sorry, Clara was shocked because, like, fight. She was like, what's going on? She wanted to know what was going on. But at the same time, she just wanted Debbie to leave her, restaurant. But Debbie was ready to give a speech, to make a point, before going anywhere. So Debbie was like, what do you think you're doing? People frown on relationships like this. So Debbie break it down, that no matter what, despite the situation, Hanks never had the right to go. He shouldn't have gone to Jonathan's house to punch him. But Clara, surprisingly, like, as we all know how Clara can easily be irritated, Clara can easily want to fight back. But surprisingly, Clara was very calm, and made it clear to Debbie that, leave my family alone. You understand? No matter what happens, if I want to find out about what's happening, I would definitely find out. But I want you to stay out of it. Yes. Even myself watching it, I was surprised. I want you to stay out of it, okay? I will get to the bottom of it. You stay out of it, because I don't see where it is your business. And it's true, if it's not busybody, why will it be your business? Moreover, you were not there. How did you know that Jonathan and this guy fought? Or are you stalking them? Because what's his name? Emeka was not there either. So are you stalking them? So she's trying to prove a point. She's trying to explain, like, to make it look like she has her back, to make it look like she's looking out for her. How can you be looking out for somebody and you are the one buying the person? Does it make sense, like us? Does it make sense? Sometimes people need to make it make sense. But I love Clara's response. Clara is not that person that was easily agitated, that she'll just get angry, just get worked up and just decide to go and do something, without even thinking. So Debbie was like feeding Clara with all those things because she wanted Clara to react. But to her greatest surprise, Clara made her understand that not only she knows that her husband will do anything, her husband will, like, Jonathan would rather buy than to hurt Debbie. And as for Benny, and as for Jonathan, as for Hanks, she'll find out, but this girl has to go. She wanted Debbie gone from her restaurant, and she didn't want her to put her feet again, because to her, she was going to find out on her own terms. She'll do what she's supposed to do, and that's final. So the next scene shows Hanks in his office. He was wondering if Clara came there to fight with him, based on the fact that she found out that he punched her husband. But to Hanks's greatest shock, Clara was not there for a fight. Clara was there for totally something else, for a different thing totally. Clara was there to try to understand what was going on, what happened, and all the rest. And when she heard, based on what this guy told her, um, saying that Jonathan, paid somebody to tarnish his daughter's reputation. Clara could not believe it. Clara just laughed and made it known that there is a probability that it is a setup. Yes, Clara, because to Clara, no, despite Jonathan being Jonathan, being wicked, being a mean person, but Jonathan would rather should give his life for his daughter. He will give his life for his daughter. This is something he will never do. He will never. That Jonathan might be a lot of things, but one thing Jonathan will never do is to hurt Benny. Yes. That besides, and she made a point, because to her it was more like, if Jonathan, have you thought that Jonathan will go and do something, and Jonathan knew how risky it was, and Jonathan will be the one to tell the guy, the hacker, that his name is Jonathan? Does it make sense? And that was when Hanks started seeing that Clara is smarter than he thought. That was when he started realizing that Clara was right. Because who on earth goes and commit crime with their real names? You understand? Who on earth does that? Nobody. It's not possible. Nobody does that. That you go and tell somebody, a hacker, your name and all the rest. But also Hanks also has a point. He was like, there's a probability that it was never Jonathan, and there's a probability that whoever did this is closer to you guys than you think. And I would say it's a man, because the hacker told the police that it was a man indeed. So if it was a man, it is not Debbie, because I was thinking it was Debbie, but once he excluded a female, I realized that it wasn't Debbie. So it is somebody. It is somebody. So Clara was devastated, because to her it's more like we move an inch or we move 10 a step, they bring us back 10 steps. They take us 10 steps backward. It's crazy. Because to Clara, it's more like somebody's after their life. And Jonathan made it clear. Jonathan made her know that somebody, like somebody close to you is doing this. So the next thing shows Emeka and Debbie, that are trying to catch up, because Emeka wanted to know how it went. So definitely Debbie went to see Clara on Emeka's demands. It wasn't something like it was a coincidence. Of course not. Debbie went there because she wanted Clara to react. She wanted Clara to start cursing, to start cursing Hanks, to get angry and to have issues with Hanks, because they are not aware that Clara and Hanks, are trying to make peace. They are not aware of that. So Debbie seeing that, sorry guys, I'm in the bathroom washing my face. Debbie saying that Clara, I'm very sleepy. Clara is not acting, like she's not reacting the way she should. It made her a bit triggered. So she had to go and tell her boss that, CEO, Clara is supposed to be having issues with Hanks, but I don't know why Clara didn't act the way I expected her to act. But whatsoever, she wanted them to focus on Clara and to forget about Jonathan at the moment. But Emeka is so fixated on Jonathan in a way that I think that is why they are going to catch him. Yes, because to Clara at this point, they've crippled Emeka. He's jobless. He has now Legades Benz. Like me, Legades Benz. Somebody without a car is a Legades Benz. And all the rest. So his leg is a Benz. That's why they say Legades Benz. So right now, it's more like this guy is on the floor. What are we supposed to do? But Emeka is not satisfied. Emeka wants Jonathan to suffer, to beg, because to Emeka, Jonathan could bounce back at any time, because right now they have a business, which is Clara, the restaurant. What if Jonathan finds a job, and something like that, he bounced back? That he wants to push him to an extent where Jonathan attempted to Jonathan will just unalive himself, and that is where he will be satisfied. Like us, people should be careful, you know, of those that they call friends. Yes, because the people you might be calling friends might be the same digging your grave, because at this point, even Debbie is shocked at the way this guy is acting, but he's determined to cripple Jonathan no matter what. She's trying so hard, to take his mind off Jonathan, but Emeka, nah. Emeka has decided. Emeka has decided. So the next scene shows Jonathan, who is going home. He's trekking, going home, and there's also this guy living a building, a house. He's also going on the same direction, like opposite direction from Jonathan, and he peeps. He say, "Is that not Jonathan?" And Jonathan noticed that somebody was peeping, so he tried to lift up his hoodie, to see who is that peeping. And Jonathan realized that he knows this person. Maybe he's one of the guys who duped him, and the guy started running. Immediately, Jonathan recognized him. The guy started running, and Jonathan was, behind him, following him up, running after him. But the guy was faster, so the guy ran away. He ran away, but Jonathan was following him everywhere. Jonathan was searching, but this guy ran away and hid himself somewhere, which is the best thing to do, and later came out of it and started running towards the opposite direction from Jonathan, because Jonathan didn't even notice the guy saw Jonathan, but Jonathan ran away because he was so angry, and he was searching that guy everywhere he needed to see him. He just wanted to. He was like, but this guy came this way, I saw him here. What happened? How? And they showed the guy. The guy was hiding, didn't want Jonathan to see him. And he was like, oh my God. He said, that was too close. God, that was close. I just hope I don't see him ever again. And the guy, he left the place. I was going. This is a problem. If you dupe somebody, be ready to see them in life, And Jonathan also, he's there trying to find out, like, which way did this guy go? Where did he go? He was like, no problem. Because to him it was more like, sure, I saw you today, I might see you another day again. 99 day for a thief, 1 day for the honor. Yes, so what about you? You be Mugu. You are a Mumu. You are in this situation because of yourself. Jonathan, honestly speaking, like Jonathan is in this situation because he put himself in it. So the next thing shows Jonathan, going home, trekking home, and there's this car who came. That was Clara's car, and Clara was like, Jonathan, what's up? Where are you going to? Are you okay? Hop in, let me drop you. Jonathan was just there, minding his business, not talking to Clara. Like us, we are going to end this video. Like, Jonathan didn't want to talk to Clara, but Clara is a nice person, I just wish at this point Jonathan could just drop his pride and see that his family is not his enemy. His enemy is Emeka and Benny. And the biggest enemy that Jonathan has is Jonathan himself. Yes. Like I always say, we should protect our mental health. We should take care of ourselves. We should be careful with the people we bring around ourselves. Our circles should be tight and small. We should be very careful, because we don't know who we are bringing in our midst. Those people might destroy us. So like us, on this note, I have to tell you, enjoy yourself and stay tuned for part 2 and the final part, okay? And on this note, I have to say bye, guys. Take care of yourself. Mwah.